when I have people come in for a tour, I like to start them off with the very beginning, and that is where Drumright was formerly known as Fulkerson. Fulkerson was a small town that consisted of 3 large farms. J.W. Fulkerson had a large portion of our town, which is the east side of what is now known as Drumright. And then one of his sons, he had several, but one of his sons, Harley, had a farm that was located where the depot is now. And then around the perimeter of his farm, a man named Aaron Drumright had a large farm as well. So they had all settled around a small creek called Tiger Creek. That was their water source. So they lived a nice little life for quite a while. And then by 1912, a man named Tom Slick came. Tom Slick was a geologist, and he came from the Pennsylvania oil fields. When Mr. Slick got to this area of Oklahoma, he had already hit 8 dry holes. So he was known around the oil business as Dry Hole Slick. He had been bankrolled and funded by some bankers out of Bristow, Oklahoma, the Jones brothers, B.B. Jones and Montfort, and so they had given him quite a lot of money. When he saw the Frank Wheeler farm, he looked at the formations and he felt like this was it. But they were down to their funds, so he did borrow some money, and I am guessing he borrowed that from the Jones brothers and went to Chicago and visited with a former colleague from the Pennsylvania fields named Charles Schaefer. Mr. Schaefer did give him an amount of, I believe, $8,000 to drill this well.
I'm Steve Crowder, president of Little River Energy Company, a company that is based in Drumright, Oklahoma, where the Wheeler No. 1 well is located directly behind us. This is the discovery well for the Cushing Field, which we are on the top of right now. Cushing Field was discovered on March 17, 1912 by a man named Tom Slick. The well came in as a really big gusher for him, producing a lot of oil, a lot of gas, but the oil was so intense and so good that he immediately started trying to get all the surrounding leases in this area. The structure behind us is the original hut that the security guards stayed in whenever Tom Slick drilled Wheeler No. 1. He went out and started trying to raise money to drill more wells and also keep other people from coming out and getting leases around his well here. And so they built the structure right away, and it was built out of the materials they had available at that time, which were old round bull wheels off of a broken down drilling rig and some old metal, the old bolted steel tank metal. No welding or anything like that. This was just original materials, and they dug it into the side of the hill. And as Tulsa World reported, this structure housed men, guards, armed with Winchester rifles with orders to shoot to kill. And this is where they stayed. They cooked under the little front overhang there and slept in the back, and they took shifts 24 hours a day out here guarding this area. This piece of structure lay hidden for decades, and we found it whenever we were coming through this area with bulldozers clearing a right-of-way for an electric line coming in here. And once we found the structure, it immediately made sense from the news articles that we had from that time. It overlooks the Wheeler 1 and is a distance of about 100 yards away from the well, with perfect vantage of guarding this well site. So another piece of great history that miraculously was maintained over the years and didn't get destroyed, and it's right here alive and well. The field ultimately was 13 miles north to south long and 2 miles east to west wide, a total of about 25 square miles. The field was so prolific in the production of oil in the teens that it provided 3% of all the oil in the world during World War I and 17% of all the oil that the United States consumed during World War I. And so this field was absolutely strategic to the Allied victory in World War I.
It's ironic that we have the city and a street named after Aaron Drumright, and we have 2 buildings and a street named after J.W. Fulkerson, but we have nothing in Drumright named after Tom Slick.
So he came here as Dry Hole Slick, but he left as King of the Wildcatters. And the painting behind me in the mural depicts Mr. Slick and the landowner, which is Frank Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler was just a poor farmer who could barely pay his bills, and pretty soon he was rolling in the dough, and we have some wonderful photographs of him in a convertible with a large fur coat. So he acclimated very well to fine living.
Wheeler number 1 is 105 years old, and it's been continuously producing for that period of time. And as many experts feel, this is the oldest continuous producing oil well in the entire world, without interruption, producing for that long. And today it still makes 7 barrels of oil a day, and it is economic even at today's depressed oil prices of $50 a barrel. So it is rich in history. It is it's a great piece of our history here, and it's the reason that Drumright exists. Drumright is on the map because this well was discovered.
The town was originally going to be named Fulkerson because the original town site was going to be on J.W. Fulkerson's property. Unfortunately, the oil workers were mispronouncing his name in a most inappropriate way, so he asked that the town not be named after him. The next choice was to name the town after Aaron Drumright. He turned out to be a good choice because he made many improvements to our city. He started a gas station, a bank, he built the very first stone building in town, and he was very active in starting the school district. So it's perfectly appropriate that our town be named after Aaron Drumright, Drumright, Oklahoma.
So this became a thriving metropolis, Drumright having over 30,000 people in it in a very short number of years, within about 2 or 3 years of discovery. There are many major oil companies got their start here, including all of the majors you would normally think about, the Mobiles and the Exxons and the Gettys and the Gulfs and Phillips, and everybody had a start here. In fact, J. Paul Getty made his original fortune in this field. So it's rich in history, it's still productive, and it's the backbone of Drumright and this economy.